This video tutorial is designed to help you create a custom questionnaire within the Click360 Self-Drive application. Now, this is not a video about good questionnaire design. If you want that, there is a video recording about it on our YouTube channel. You'll find it easily there. Before I show you how to add your own questionnaire, it would be worthwhile showing you the Click360 Self-Drive Questionnaire Interface, or what we call the QI, so that you can see the context within which your questions are going to sit. So the top of the first page of any of our questionnaires looks like this. The purple header rail here has got the name at the top left. You've given this name in the survey setup. You've then got the name of the participant you're giving feedback to. And if you are the participant and you're completing a questionnaire on yourself, then that name will simply be replaced by the word yourself. Notice how each behavior or competency cluster heading is written here, and then underneath there is a short definition or description, which is actually optional, but it may help explain what is meant by the heading. And then underneath you've got each question. Let's look at those in a bit more detail. So each question is numbered, and it should be written as a specific observable behavior, SOB. And then underneath each question is a sliding scale. And while there is a Likert scale, you'll see it here, and you can choose that from the survey setup, we actually offer you a 0 to 100 point scale. It's a sliding scale. Okay. Now, going back to the structure of each question, and because of our naming convention, remember the name at the top, then you don't need to include a personal pronoun at the start of the question. So you don't need a first person, like I, or a second person like you, or even a third person such as he or she or they, because the SOB is written as a statement that starts by assuming the third person but not actually using the pronoun she, he, or they. You just write it with the person assumed. Okay, so you don't need a question mark at the end either, or even a full stop. So just remember that structure as you create your own custom questionnaire. While I have your attention, if you are checking the yes box for behavior comments on the survey setup page, just show you that briefly. This is the box I'm talking about, the behavior comments section. If you're ticking yes to that, let me just quickly show you on the QI what that's going to look like. You'll see that the top of the comments page is displaying all the questions that you've just answered in the behavioral cluster that's gone before. So the Click360 application's actually worked out the average of the scores you've just given, expressed as a percentage. And then you've got these two free text comment boxes below. The first one asks what the participant does well. It uses their name in the actual statement. And the second one asks what they could do differently. Now, if this is a participant self-questionnaire, that name is actually replaced by the second person pronoun you. In other words, what you do well, or what you could do differently. Please be aware that you can't change the wording above each of these comment boxes. This is hard coded. And while we're at it, I just want to show you the final page of comment boxes. Now, once again, it's hard coded into the QI on Click360, so it's not optional, and neither can you alter the text above each comment box. That said, they do reflect a very popular 360-degree feedback model. They give you, the rater, the opportunity to add feedback in a free text format about what you would like the participant to stop doing and or saying, or start doing and or saying, or continue doing and or saying. And you can use these boxes to add depth and clarity to something that came up earlier in the questionnaire, or you may wish to raise something that lies totally outside of the questionnaire. Okay, so that page is built into every questionnaire. It's the very last question page, and it automatically gets put in even if you create your own custom questionnaire. Okay, so I hopefully showed you the self-drive QI a way that is going to be helpful when you create your own custom questionnaire. Let's look at the mechanics of how you actually do that now on the Click360 Self-Drive website. So the first thing you need to do is to purchase the custom questionnaire upgrade if you haven't already done so. This is a one-off fee for all time. Once you've made the payment, you can create multiple questionnaires over time. So you start by looking at the menu choices on the left-hand side in the green panel, and you actually need to click Upgrades and then choose the appropriate upgrade. Here we go, Custom Questionnaires. In this case, it's already been purchased. It would be sitting down here with a purchase button next to it if you were doing it for the first time. Okay, so once you've got that in place, then what you do is you go back to the dashboard and you can then very simply click on the Questionnaires tab in the menu, and you go down here and create New Questionnaire. Now, very important, before you start creating your questionnaire, I strongly recommend that you open up a blank Excel spreadsheet and you do all your preparatory work there so that you can then copy and paste your text from the spreadsheet into the Click360 Self-Drive app later. We don't supply a template for this. It really is very simple. Neither do we supply a library of behaviors and questions. You've got to devise your own, probably from your organization's competency framework and values. And actually some clients, because you can see all of our standard questionnaires, some clients actually just copy and paste the best of our questions into their own custom creations, perhaps with the odd tweak here and there. So here's a very light touch example of one that I prepared earlier. You'll see the questionnaire name at the top over here. By the way, we often use the date in questionnaire naming. It's just easier to differentiate between questionnaires if you're looking at several. This is the survey name. Obviously, this is what sorry, this is a questionnaire name. This is the name you're giving to the questionnaire. Okay. But also here, you'll see that there's a behavior or cluster heading. So model away in this case, highlighted in yellow, and then the behavior description that sits underneath that. That's the bit that appears in italics on the QI. And then underneath are all the questions that would sit under that cluster. Then you've got the second behavior heading, the second title, if you like, and then the second behavior description, and then the questions that sit underneath the second behavior. This example has only got two cluster headings and descriptions. It's only got two questions as well under each behavioral cluster. It's purely here as a guide to show you the methodology that we're recommending. So how do we use the Excel spreadsheet in conjunction with the Click360 Self-Drive application? Start by copying the questionnaire name. Okay, so it's Control-C. And then paste that into the application, the Self-Drive application. And now click Save. Okay, so there is your questionnaire name. Okay, now we've got the opportunity to add the first behavior heading and then next to it the behavior description. So we're going back to the Excel spreadsheet. We're picking up the first behavior name, Control-C, and then we're pasting it into the relevant field on the Self-Drive app. Okay. Now we're going to pick up the description, the behavior description, copy that, and paste that into the relevant field. Okay, and then we click Save. Now, before we go and put in any of the individual questions, we need to put in all of the behavior headings. Okay, remember that. So you've done the first behavior heading and behavior description. Now we're going to go for the second behavior heading. See how we've numbered it as well. It's automatically been numbered number 1. Okay, so back to the spreadsheet. So we're going to pick up behavior number 2, the name of it. Again, Control C, copy. Back to the self-drive app and paste that in. Back to the Excel spreadsheet and pick up the behavior description. Control C. Back to the self-drive app, paste that in and click Save. Okay, you'll see it's numbered number 2. So you go on doing this for all the behavior headings and descriptions that you have in your custom questionnaire. And by the way, using an Excel spreadsheet just makes it easier. If you make mistakes, you want to change your mind about any of these wordings, it's easy to do it in the Excel spreadsheet and then to copy and paste as I've shown you. Now let's look at how you add questions. So when you've pasted in all your behaviors, it's time to add your individual questions. So you click up here, take the first behavior, click up here where it says edit questions, click on that, and you'll see that the first question text field has come up. So go back to the spreadsheet, and we're now going to pick up behavior number 1, question number 1. So again, copy that and drop it back into the self-drive application. And then click add at the end, and you'll see that not only has it been captured, but it's also been given an index number 1.1. Now let's do the same for the second behavioral question. So here we are, behavior number 1, question number 2. So we're going to copy that back to the self-drive app, and we're going to drop it in here and then click add. And we carry on doing that for all the questions in behavior 1. And when we finish, we click save. Okay, now we're going to go back and repeat the process for the second questionnaire question heading. So let's go back to the main page of the questionnaire and now click edit questions again. And now what we're going to do, we're going to pick up the first question for the second behavior and drop it in. So here we are, behavior 2, question 1, Control C, drop it in and click add at the end. And then we go back, click on the appropriate question, behavior 2, question 2, Control C, and then back to the self-drive app and drop it into the question text field. Remember to click add at the end. And then you click save. You've done all the questions, you click save. If you want to go back to the main questionnaire page, you obviously click the back button at the top. If you want to edit a question, you need to go back into the edit questions piece, pick up the question you want to change, and you want to put the correct spelling in. Okay, and then click save again. And now you've saved the correction. When you've finished, go back to the main questionnaire page. So you've got it showing all of the behaviors and all of the behavior descriptions. When you finish, make sure that you click the save button, and that then saves your questionnaire successfully. So now when you go back to the questionnaire list, remember this was demo leadership survey, there it is sitting in the list of questionnaires that you can pick from when you're doing your survey setup. And that's it.